Okay, so let's go ahead and officially get started. For those of you who don't know, my name is Josh Schoenly with eXp Realty, and this is a free virtual first-time homebuyer workshop. And we're going to cover a lot of things in a small window of time. There's a lot of things that I would like to be able to share with you, so that if and when you're ready to buy your first home, or maybe it's a second or even third home, you are best equipped to get the best deal possible, to get the best financing possible, and to set yourself up and your family up from a perspective, an investment perspective, because buying a home is an investment, and for many people, the biggest investment they'll make. So I am going to let's go ahead and share my screen, and I do have some slides. I will kind of bounce back and forth between slides and live to camera, and you should still be able to see me in the corner there. I will let you know that if you have questions, and remember, there are no silly questions, right? If this is the first time you're doing this, there's no questions too small or too large. So go ahead and you can use, if you're watching it live in Zoom with us, you can use the Q&A box or the chat box. I'll try to check both of those. I'd prefer the Q&A box, but either one is fine. If you are watching it live stream, or even after the fact on Facebook, you can go ahead and use the comments, and I'm going to try and monitor those. If you see me looking down here, I'm just making sure that A, we're actually live and this is working, and B, that I have a way to monitor those as well, because it's very possible we'll get some fantastic questions on there as well. So let me just make sure, pull that up. One second. Okay, so it is working. Good. All right. If you're watching on Facebook, do me a huge favor and give me the thumbs up or even the heart, and let me know in the comments if you can hear me and see me. That'd be great. Okay, so on the screen here, and let's go ahead. We'll go in full slide deck mode here. Get fancy. Are a couple of the clients that we have helped just over the last couple of weeks who were first-time home buyers. Make that couple of months, actually, because the bottom left was Jennifer in January. And here's what we've learned over the last few months. We've actually helped a number of clients who didn't even realize that they could qualify to buy a home. And in fact, I have clients that after this webinar, I'm going to be talking with on presenting an offer today on a property that they didn't literally a week ago, they had no idea that they were in a position to buy a home. I got them connected to one of our lending partners, and voila, like we're a week later and we're getting ready to make an offer on a home. So many of you watching this may not even realize that you do qualify for a home. And I can tell you that now may be the greatest time ever for you to do that. Now, the inventory is low. There's not a ton to choose from, but I'll share with you towards the end some of the things that we do proactively that is pretty unique as far as real estate agents go, to find properties besides just what you'll find on the MLS or on Zillow or Realtor.com. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So here's what we're going to cover in the training. I'm going to show you how you can get up to anywhere from $2,700 to $5,000, and in some cases even more, in down payment assistance. Okay, in down payment assistance. I'm going to show you how you can save anywhere from $1,175 to $6,195 when buying your first home. How to get the seller to pay for 50 to 100% of your closing costs. Okay, so anywhere from half to all of your closing costs. how to purchase with virtually $0 out of pocket. In some cases, that makes sense. In other cases, it doesn't. I'll give you an example or a couple of examples. How to save hours of time and hassle when switching over your utilities when you buy a home or move into a new property. And in fact, even if you're planning on staying with your property, that one alone, I'll give you a way that you might be able to save some money. 3 tricks for finding the very best deal possible for you and your family. And I see I have some some typos. It's the first time going through this presentation. But before we get into that stuff, before we get into some of the fun stuff, I want to walk you through the 10 steps for buying a home. Okay, there are basically 10 steps that every home buyer, whether it's a first-time home buyer, is going to go through, or you're buying your second home, third home, you're an investor, whatever. There are essentially 10 steps in the process. So let's unpack those first, just to kind of demystify and simplify the process. Step number 1 is to check your credit report and your credit score, because that will drastically impact what options are available and what interest rate we're able to get, which helps us then proactively create a plan to best find a property for you based upon that situation, right? Step 2 is to determine your buying power, determine your buying power, right? And we do that by getting you connected with one of our lenders, our financing partners, and talking through what sort of budget we want to stay in and the current situation of our credit report and our credit score, so we can plan, okay, this is the price range that we need to be within based upon all factors. And we have to consider a lot of different things: the taxes on a property, the homeowner's insurance on a property, if it's in a HOA or a condo association. There are a lot of factors there, but we need to set that groundwork up front, so we're not disappointed, right, when we find our perfect dream home and our buying power won't support that. Step 3 in the process is to find a real estate agent. And really, that could be step 1, because a great real estate agent will help you with all of these steps, right? So you can reorder some of these things, but you get the idea, okay? Step 4 is to get pre-approved by a lender. And this is now easier than ever to do so. We've got very convenient ways and easy ways for you to get pre-approved. And in fact, if that's something you're interested in, you can call or text me or email me. I can get you pointed in the right direction. It's easy. It's painless. There's no cost or obligation to do it. There's no reason, if you're thinking about on any level, if you're thinking about on buying on any level, there's no reason not to at least find out where you stand from that process. Because here's the thing, the lenders that I work with, the financing partners that I work with, even if you're not ready to be pre-approved today, they'll give you a plan so you can be proactively working towards your goal of owning a home, okay? Step 5, once we're pre-approved and we've determined our buying power, we can start looking at homes. And as we're live here, this is during the COVID-19 fun, right? The stay in place and looking at homes. So let me give you a couple scenarios there. We start looking at homes in any climate. We're always going to start looking online. And once you are pre-approved, if you were working with me or if I were working with you, I would give you a plan, and we would set you up to receive the kind of properties that fit the criteria that we're looking for and that fit our budget and so forth. And we would start by doing research on those properties online. And I actually have a whole process for that. And we're getting some great questions already, so I appreciate that. Bree, is it Bree Nicole? Bree Nicole. I'll certainly address those questions that you have for sure. So we start looking at homes virtually, and that would include research. And I've got an entire sort of plan to help you do that. And then because of the current climate and the inability for us to physically go see properties, we've gotten very creative about how we're virtually looking at properties, and doing so in a way that is safe and responsible, but still can give you, the buyer, an opportunity to get a real feel for the house. So we're very proactively addressing the issue that we're facing here with this COVID-19 scenario. All right, we found the perfect home, and in fact, I have three buyers, two of which are first-time buyers, that we are submitting offers on properties today. That's why I was a little bit late to this. While we got started a couple minutes late, I was actually finishing up the documents for those clients, right? And to make an offer, there are typically anywhere from 6 to 8 different documents that we have to complete, and we'll walk you through all of that. Typically, we prepare all of that and get all of that signed digitally, right? So even before all of this happened, we did a lot of that virtually and digitally, and it's super easy, safe, and secure. So we make an offer, and let's say we're lucky enough to have our offer accepted, like one of our clients earlier this week, Ashley Thomas, and like hopefully the others that we're making offers with today. Tara and Janelle and Leslie, and I'm leaving the husbands out, but the wives are the ones that make all of the decisions anyway, or the significant others anyway. So let's say our offer is accepted. Well, the next major milestone in the process would be to get a home inspection. Now, you're not required to get a home inspection, but I always recommend my clients get one. The cost of a home inspection is anywhere about $300 to $350, and it's done by a licensed professional who will provide you with a very detailed report about the condition of a home. I don't have an example of one of those ready here, but maybe we'll do that as a follow-up video. I'll do a follow-up video with an example of what a home inspection looks like for those of you who are curious. All right, step 8 is get insurance and establish utilities, transfer utilities, and I've got an easy button for this coming later in the workshop here. Then we have closing day or settlement. And again, because of the current climate, we've actually been conducting a lot of these remotely or virtually, where normally what would happen is we'd have the buyers and the sellers in the room, and the real estate agents on either side, and potentially the lender and a closing agent. Maybe someday soon we'll return to that. But for the meantime, we've been conducting them virtually. In fact, I've had at least 5 or 6 transactions happen in the last 7 or 8 weeks that have happened all virtually, where we've been able to do it again safely and securely, social distancing, in a way that that is trying to keep everyone safe. So that's closing day, and then you get the keys and move in, right? You get the keys and move in. The fun part. So that's the basic sort of overview of the home buying process. Okay, the 10 steps to that. Now let's talk about the 4 most common loan types. The 4 most common loan types. Now, there are more, and there are different components or even like subcategories of each of these loans, but just trying to give you a general idea. Number 1 is FHA, and that's kind of traditionally been the one that people associate with first-time home buyers. And it's the Federal Housing Association. And it is primarily for first-time home buyers. However, if you have not bought a home, and I don't know the exact, I should know this exact number, but I can certainly find it. It's anywhere from 7 to 10 years. Maybe you bought a home in the past, but something happened, right? Who knows? Life happens to us. And you've been renting for the last 5 or 10 years. You may be able to still qualify for an FHA loan, even though you've previously bought a property. Number 2 is a conventional loan, okay? So number 1, FHA has some parameters in place to help first-time homebuyers. For example, the minimum credit score on FHA loans is lower than, for example, on a conventional loan. However, in many cases, conventional loans have lower interest rates, right? So there's a give and take. There's a give and take. And I'll give you, so before I forget, I'm going to share, not only will I share the recording, the replay of this with anyone who's interested, but I'll also send a PDF copy of these slides, because I've got some links and some additional resources and some things that I haven't even been able to work in there yet, so that you can, do some of your own research and so forth. So we've got FHA, we've got conventional, we've got VA. VA stands for the Veterans Administration. Veterans Administration. So that loan type or loan program is only available to military, active duty, or veterans. And there's some great benefits to this program. For example, you can get up to 100% financing and get up to 6% seller help, which means that's an example of a program that you could use to buy a home for virtually $0 out of pocket. The last most common is one called USDA. And this one's typically associated with rural financing. However, in our area, so for example, all of Perry County would qualify for this loan type. A majority of Cumberland County qualifies for this loan type. A majority of Dauphin County qualifies, or maybe not a majority, but a lot of Dauphin County. So this is a loan where you can get 100% financing and up to 6% seller help, like VA. But unlike VA, you don't have to be military, active, or veteran. The difference with this one is only certain areas qualify. Only certain geographic areas qualify, and more densely populated areas don't qualify. So, for example, Mechanicsburg Borough. Most of Mechanicsburg Borough does not qualify. A good bit of the zip code of 17050 does not qualify. Downtown Harrisburg, right? The Harrisburg city proper does not qualify. But there are a number of, there's a ton of our area that does qualify. And in fact, maybe this will be fun. I'm going to exit the full screen here. I'm going to show you a link. We'll open up this link here. This has some great additional information about the different loan types. And again, you'll have the link to this because I'll send you a copy of the slides, a PDF copy of the slides. But you can get more information about what it is, what you need, who it's good for, who should skip it, etc. But just because I brought it up, I'm going to bring up real quick the USDA map. So this will give you an idea. So if you're wondering, you saw a property and you're wondering, would this qualify for USDA financing? You can use this little map here. And I'm just popping in an address here. And you can check if it qualifies. So for example, that address is in an eligible area. So what you see here is the light orange areas. Those are areas that are ineligible. But all of the gray areas, all of this is eligible. Again, 100% financing. You can get up to 6% seller help, which means you can buy a home for virtually zero money out of pocket. I'll give you an example of one of our clients that did just that recently later in the presentation. Okay, so we've got that link. Now let's take a quick overview of the loan process, the steps in the loan process, and then we're going to get into some of the fun stuff, how we can save money, how we can get the sellers to cover some of our closing costs and so forth. But the loan process itself, well, it starts with a full application. There are going to be documents and information that your lender is going to need from you to submit a complete application. Once we have all of those documents and we've got it submitted, it goes into loan processing, okay? Where a specific processor will look at the whole loan package, and whether or not it can be underwritten. Underwritten just means whether it can actually be financed, whether you can actually get the financing. Then we've got an appraisal, and the appraisal determines the fair market value of the property, and it's added to the loan package, and it's used in underwriting. Okay, so that's just a third party that's verifying that the home is worth what we think it's worth. Then it goes to underwriting. So for reviewing of the application, the documentation, financial information, the sales contract, employment verification, appraisal, and the title and all of that. And then we have closing. Okay. And then we have closing. And again, I'll include a link to this, that document with the recording of this. Okay. So now let's get into the fun stuff. How you can get up to $2,700 or from $2,700 to $5,000 in down payment assistance. The amount of down payment assistance varies a little bit by county, and there are certain criteria. But as you can see here, I've put in different links that you can kind of check out. But I'll just pull up, for example, Cumberland County. In Cumberland County, you can get down payment and closing cost assistance up to $3,000 for first-time home buyers. And look at this, up to $5,000 if you meet some other criteria. So you can get in Cumberland County, you can get anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 in what I'll call free money. This is free money. This is money that you in many cases you don't have to repay, and you can use to purchase a property. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. Now, you do have to attend a workshop. You have to go through a class. A little bit different than this one, but some of the same principles. And once you do, you get a voucher for it, okay? And there are similar programs in Dauphin County and in Perry County and York County and virtually any place. Those amounts vary, the qualifications vary, but there are there are a lot of different options as far as that goes, depending on where you're looking to purchase. So that's how you can get that. That's pretty incredible. And if you're curious or want more information about that, beyond the resource links that I'll provide for you, I'll get you connected with one of our lending partners, and they can point you in the right direction. And we're getting some great questions. So Felicia says, will we get a voucher for this class? No, unfortunately, I cannot offer a voucher for this class. This class is just to give you an idea, a general overview, but then specifically illustrate some of the things that we do when working with clients that are way, way over and above what you would typically experience with other real estate agents or realtors. So great question, though. Thanks, Felicia. Okay, so let's talk about now how you can save anywhere from $1,175 to $6,195 when buying your first home. Well, here's the thing. If you qualify, my lending partner will pay for your appraisal. He'll pay for your appraisal. Now, this on average, appraisals right now are costing between $470 and $530. $470 to $530. But we can get that paid for you, again, if you qualify to work with us, okay? And on top of that, we provide you with a free 1-year home warranty through a company called America's Preferred Home Warranty. America's Preferred Home Warranty. This is a value approximately of $675, okay? And why would we do that? Well, it provides you with peace of mind, right? It's an extra level of protection. We get homeowners insurance. We've got that in place. We put contingencies in place when we're making an offer. But what about when we actually close on the property, right? Because homeowners insurance only covers certain things. Well, this home warranty helps fill those gaps, so you can be more confident and rest easier, when you're going through this process for the first time. All right. So let's talk about, so that addresses the 1175. Now, you may also qualify for our Homes for Heroes program. Our Homes for Heroes program. We are a local affiliate of this program, which is a national program. And you can get more information at centralpaheroes.com. Centralpaheroes.com. The link is right up here. I'm going to go back to full screen just because it's easier to see that way, especially for some of you on a small screen. So Homes for Heroes, the purpose of this program is to provide real, tangible cash and other benefits for 5 different hero classes that serve and help our communities. Those classes are as follows. They're firefighters and EMS, okay, law enforcement, military, both active, reserve, and veterans, healthcare professionals, which these last two, well, all of these categories, we should all be so grateful to all of these categories, but even more so, recently, healthcare professionals, the what they're doing and how they're, so bravely, risking themselves and putting themselves on the line during this crisis, and then teachers who have had to get creative, and schooling, teaching virtually. Anyway, Homes for Heroes provides real tangible benefits to these folks. And one of the ways that we do that is we will actually rebate back a percentage of the home purchase when you buy, if you qualify for the Homes for Heroes program. And again, you can get, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we have a lot more information to share. And I want to make sure that we also address Q&A, and I don't want to go too long with this because I know, many of you have other things to do as well. But if you want more information, if you're curious about the program, you want more info, you want to see if you qualify, etc., just go to centralpaheroes.com. Centralpaheroes.com. So now let's talk about real quick how to get the seller to pay for half or even up to 100% of the closing costs when buying. Now I'm going to switch to live camera here for this, and then we'll go back to the slides in a minute. So our team has successfully been able to negotiate on our clients' behalf in many cases to get anywhere from 3% to 6% seller help to cover closing costs. Okay. And what that does is that means that's less money out of your pocket when you're purchasing a home. Now, because inventory is low, because there's not a ton of homes on the market, and because buyer demand is still very high, in many cases, we have to be, if we're going to be aggressive on getting or asking for seller help, then we're probably going to be giving up the ability to negotiate on price. And in fact, I've had several cases recently where to get the seller help, which again minimizes our out of pocket, we actually upped our offer price, and in some cases over list price. In fact, the offer that I was preparing before this, we're asking for seller help, and we're asking, because of that, we're actually going to offer over the asking price. Now, that's because of the current market conditions and where we're at, but just know that there are checks and balances, right? And there are pros and cons to each approach, right? Are we trying to minimize, our out-of-pocket outlay, or are we trying to get the best deal possible when it comes on price? And that is just one of the conversations that we'll have when we work together and we get to that point. And each situation and each client is unique. And so we kind of create that plan specifically to meet your needs as a client, whether you're a first-time home buyer or maybe, this is your second or third home purchase. Who knows? Okay. So all of that is taken into consideration so that we can present an offer that's going to give us the best opportunity to win that offer. Okay. So let's get back to the slides. Try to anyway. There it is. Oh, I need to exit and then share. So I've hinted at this a little bit, but I want to give you a real world example of how to purchase with virtually $0 out of pocket. Now, if you remember, the two loan types where we have an opportunity to do this are VA and USDA, where we can get the financing of 100% of the purchase price, and we can get up to 6% seller help. So Todd and Leanne, let me tell you their story real quick here. They started thinking about buying a home late last summer. They reached out to a couple of real estate professionals who told them that they needed to wait at least a year. They weren't ready to buy a home. Well, they didn't settle for that answer, and they found me. They found our team. And we were able to get them pre-approved. And we had some trials and tribulations. The first deal that we were able to put together ended up falling apart because we had a seller that was unreasonable. But all through that, we were able to get them this beautiful home, which they love, just outside of the Carlisle borough. And we were able to do that with virtually $0 out of pocket. They were able to get 100% financing. We were able to get almost 6% seller help. And we were able to put that together through negotiating, getting creative, and just working together as a team. Now, I mentioned the two loan types that you can use to buy with virtually $0 out of pocket are VA and USDA, but there are other creative ways that you can buy for very little out of pocket. So, for example, in most cases, if you've got a 401k or some sort of retirement account, you can take a loan from that account and use it towards the purchase of a property, the purchase of a home. And there are different, I'm not a registered investment advisor, right? So I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to give you advice as far as that goes. But in many cases, that is very possible. And especially right now, it might be the perfect time for you to consider doing that. It might make sense for you to take some of that wealth from a paper asset and turn it into a hard asset of real estate. Okay. Again, I'm not a licensed wealth advisor or financial advisor, but it's something to consider and something maybe you want to get more information about. Okay. So now let's talk about how to save hours of time and hassle when switching over your utilities. Or if you're watching and maybe you're not ready to buy right now, you can also use this service to potentially save yourself tens or even hundreds of dollars per month. So if you go to utilityconnect.net/Josh Schoenly, and again, you'll have this direct link in the PDF that I'll share with all of you after we're done here. But you can use this service right here, and they will actually go out and find the best options for you when it comes to all of these utilities. So in the case that you're moving, right, you're buying a home, you can use them to take care of that. It's one less stressor. It's one less headache that you have to worry about. And it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. Okay. Again, it costs you nothing. Additionally, you can also use this service and they will go and either renegotiate with your existing utility providers or find comparable but more affordable options. So it's a great service. It's a service that they're a preferred partner with our brokerage, eXp Realty, and it's just one of the many additional services that we provide for our clients, like hopefully yourself. Okay, we're coming in for a landing here soon, and we'll dig into your questions as well. But now let's talk about 3 tricks for finding the very best deal possible for you and your family. Okay. There are a couple of these three specific things that we do that are very unique, and I've not found anyone else in our area that do these three specific things for clients. Doesn't mean that no one else does. I've not heard of anyone else that does these three things. So, number one, so here's what typically happens. You're going through these steps. You're ready to start looking at properties. You've gotten pre-approved. You've chosen a real estate agent, and the real estate agent is going to set you up on property alerts and tell you, when you see something you like, let me know, and we can schedule a showing. We do that as well because in some cases that may be the best place to find the right home for you and your family. But we also do these three things for those that qualify and when they're ready to do that. Number one is we look at and we put together a list of all the off-market properties with sellers who either were thinking about selling or maybe currently are thinking about selling, but their properties aren't currently on the market. These are expired listings, withdrawn listings, canceled listings, temporarily off-market listings, listings that you can't find on Zillow. You can't find them even in the MLS or in the or Realtor.com. You're not going to get them just from a traditional property search. Okay, and in fact, one of the clients who we're writing an offer with today, that offer is being made on a property that is off-market. And I'm pretty confident because of that. Here's the advantage to that. You're not competing. You're not competing against the dozens or even hundreds of other buyers that may be looking at the same listings that you're looking at on Zillow and Realtor.com, etc. I cannot express to you how important it is in that pursuit, especially now in such a low inventory market. In a market where we have so few homes to choose from, and yet we have many ready, willing, and able buyers. Number two is our Dream Home Finder program. Our Dream Home Finder program. Here's what we do with this. We will go out and actively invest our own time and money to market, to find properties that fit your criteria that, again, aren't on the market. We do this through direct mail and online marketing. And in fact, it's something that we did for these lovely clients, Callie and Dylan. And what we were able to do was get 3 opportunities that we wouldn't have had if we were only looking in the MLS. Now, ultimately, we ended up, we're actually, they're closing next week on their first home. And we ended up finding that property in the MLS, but we didn't rely solely on that. And with that, that costs us our own time and money. And depending on the situation, we invest $500, $1,000, sometimes up to $2,000 on your behalf as a client to find you the best opportunity for your family in your situation. The specific neighborhood you're looking in, or maybe you're looking for a specific elementary school to be in, or maybe there are other criteria that you're looking for, a specific amount of land. Any of those things, we will proactively, we'll work with you to identify those criteria, and then we go out and we're working on your behalf. Okay. We don't just sit back and let the market come to us. We go and make the market. And the last one of the 3 is what we call our silent market. We have our own internal database of homeowners in our marketplace who on some level have raised their hand and said, I might be willing to sell if the situation were correct. Or I'm thinking about selling, but probably not for 3 to 6 months. Things of that nature. We have we have our own database. We have our own, not only that, and I'll show you this real quick. Not only that, but we have our even, this is pretty cool little intel here. We have our own map of those potential silent market sellers. We built our own map for this. right on Google Maps where you can see the pins of these potential sellers. So when we're working with a client, that's one of the first things we do is, once we've gotten you pre-approved and we've gotten you to what we call RWA status, ready, willing, and able, we go out and we proactively search our silent market listings to see if there's one that matches up for your criteria. Okay. So again, these are three things and three tricks, three services that we provide that cost you nothing. That cost you nothing. And by the way, I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. Buying the home, it comes with an investment. But to get our help in doing so, no, we're compensated differently. All right, so let's take a look. These are just a couple of the first-time home buying clients that we've worked with just in the last few weeks. This is Tammy and Jerry. They just closed on a property, a nice ranch house in Shippensburg, I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. And again, we were able to do the closing remotely and virtually, and they had been renting. They are also clients that didn't realize that they could qualify for a home. They saw one of our ads, one of our marketing pieces, and they reached out. We got them connected to one of our lending partners, and a couple of months later, now instead of renting and throwing their money away, they're proud homeowners. Okay, they're proud homeowners. They used FHA, for those curious. Bob and Heather. Now, Bob had actually owned a home before, many years ago. Life happens, things change. He and Heather had been renting for a number of years, and were getting the itch and wanting to buy a home. And this is the home we searched. The search took a little bit of time to find the right one, but they now have this beautiful. They just closed on this home about 2 weeks ago. This beautiful home in CV Schools. It's got an amazing backyard pool and entertainment area in a wonderful, like, quiet neighborhood with some great neighbors. And they used FHA. We were able to get them seller help. And by the way, Tammy and Jerry, we were also able to get them seller help on their deal as well. And then the last one is Javat, who he didn't want his face on here, but those are his keys. Those are the keys to his castle right here. And Javat is one who he purchased this home and is now paying less than what he was paying in rent for a very nice townhome, but was renting. Now he owns this beautiful home. And we used, I don't remember if we used USDA or FHA, but we did get seller help. I know that for sure. And again, closed it virtually, remotely, safely during all of this, this COVID crisis. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to answer the couple of questions that we have. But if you're interested in buying a home now or in the near future, here's your next best step or steps. You can schedule a free 15-minute consultation at josh15.com. josh15.com. We can do it by phone or we can do it on Zoom like this. So we can, it's like we're meeting face to face, and we can even have a cup of coffee together. It's pretty cold now, but still goes down pretty good. And what I'll also say is, if there are no available times that work for you at josh15.com, just call or text me or email me, and we'll definitely find a time that works for you. My direct line is 717-510-1452. 717-510-1452. The best email is josh.schoenly@exprealty.com. josh.schoenly@exprealty.com. As I've mentioned several times, I'm going to send you a PDF copy of all of these slides, so you'll have all the information, you'll have all the links, all the resources. But if you're interested in buying now or in the near future, just schedule a time to chat. So let's answer some great Q&A that we've got here. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to leave this on the screen, actually. I'll put this full screen so you can see it if you're, so it's not small on the screen. So Someone asks, so when I apply for a home with someone else, can you explain that? Like if my buying power is 95 and so is his, does that mean together our buying power is 190 around about? Yes, around about. Generally speaking, that would be how it would work. Each situation is different. And in some cases, if you've got a co-borrower, if it's two of you, maybe one of you has a better credit score versus the other, but it all sometimes it can be a good thing and sometimes it can be a bad thing. So it just depends on the situation. Each situation is unique, and we treat each one uniquely, and that's why we create a specific plan, based upon the type of loan, the budget, and so forth. So we try to customize the plan for and in every unique individual's case. Let's see what else we have here. So someone else asked, I've been approved. Now what do I do? Well, I would say that we should chat and create your game plan, and we can start to do a couple of things. Number one, we can talk about these 3 free services: our off-market properties list, our Dream Home Finder program, and the silent market, so that we can set about and create an opportunity where we can find you the very best property and not rely solely on the MLS or Zillow or Realtor to do that. Okay, so let's definitely chat about that and see if we can find you a good solution. Let's see what other. Well, why is that not coming up? Let's see here. I'm trying to bring up the Q&A. Okay. Would this be a good time to inquire about county home buyers classes or in the near future? Yes. So on this slide, this one here. Depending on what county you're looking to purchase in, we can get you pointed in the right direction. So here's what I would tell you: call, text me, or email me, or even schedule a 15-minute consultation so we can figure out and get you set up with the right one, right? The right workshop. I do believe that some of the counties are doing them virtually like this, and even offering the vouchers in those cases. Twisting my table up there with my with the cord. That's a great question. Thank you. All right. Any other questions, comments, or something that you're not sure about or would like more information about? I'd be happy. My domestic partner was in the military. We are not married, but can I use his VA to get a loan? If you are buying together, yes, to use the VA voucher, and I would say, let me backtrack. I would say most likely, without knowing your exact situation, I would say most likely yes. And the best thing to do, again, it costs you nothing. Well, first of all, if you're already working with a lender, go back and chat with them. And if not, we can connect you with one of our lending partners and they'll kind of go over the situation. But if you're buying together, you don't, all you need is one person to be able to qualify for the voucher. Okay. That's a great question. Any other questions, whether you're watching live on Facebook or you're in the Zoom webinar with me? Any other questions? You can use the Q&A box. You can use the chat box, whichever is most convenient. Going once, going twice. Okay, well, once again, if you have questions, if you would like to schedule a time to create a plan for you, or you're just not sure where you're at, whatever, call or text me, email me, schedule a time that works, josh15.com. I'm going to send the recording out as well as the PDF copy of these slides to anyone who would like them, anyone who registered. And I have a number of people that couldn't make it live that were interested, and I'll be sending it to them as well. And it was great spending some time with you here on a Thursday. And I'll look forward to working with you in the future. Take care and have a great rest of the day and weekend.